So welcome to another wargame review from theplayersaid.com. My name's Alexander.
And I'm Grant.
And today we're taking a look at a game called Dual Powers, Revolution 1917. And this is by Thunderworks Games. This game was designed by a gentleman called Brett Myers. And, as you can imagine, it's about the Russian Revolution.
Yeah.
This was a Kickstarter in 2018. So it's very recently out. Is it available in retail, you know?
I don't know that I know that.
I don't know either. But
I would guess.
First off, great looking game.
Oh, it's beautiful.
This is Thunderworks is a new company.
I believe they are.
So if it is, they've knocked this out of the park from a production standpoint.
Absolutely.
The counters, there aren't a lot in the game. Just the game pieces are really thick. There's a lot of nice little wooden extra components.
Yeah, these month and day markers are just fantastic.
Just some markers on the board, which are just really well done. Cards are beautiful.
Thick. Well made.
Ever so slightly textured without being those really coarse ones.
Easy to shuffle.
Artwork's great. Board very clear. Just cool. Just so from that standpoint, I believe it's their first game.
I think it is, but I'm not going to say that for sure. I guess I should have asked that or done a little more research.
For a company that I've never played one of their games before, this game is dope from that standpoint.
And the other thing I really like about the production is is it Cyrillic, the alphabet for Russian. It's like reflected in the numbers, right?
Yes, and the font, like the type,
right. That's what I meant. The font and
the typefaces.
It's
Russian-y looking.
Yeah, it just has a really cool thematic feel.
Yeah, they went kind of whole hog on that.
Yeah,
and the artwork on like the leader cards.
Those are awesome.
It's like a stylized painting.
Of
a portrait of those guys. So like Lenin, you're like, yep, that's Lenin,
Stalin.
that's Stalin. But it's got a cool style to it.
Yeah, which
is nice. It had a really good time playing this because I'll be honest, Russian Revolution. Not my most favorite topic.
Right.
Not something that we play a lot. Although, having said that, there are quite a few games about it.
Yeah.
I've played a couple, but it's not... I don't sit at home and I'm like, oh, what's my next Russian Revolution game?
Yeah.
So we played this. Really fun game.
I really enjoyed it, and it was fast playing.
Yes.
We played 45 minutes or an hour to an hour.
Start to finish, reading the rules, hour.
Yeah.
It's not a big game.
No.
This is... I also would hesitate to call it a war game.
Right.
This is an area control game.
And it's a card-driven game.
So it's a CDG, but it's not a complex one in any way.
No.
The cards are very simple. It basically kind of looks typical with the various numbers on it, but basically it tells you how far to advance the game turn, which is also an interesting thing we'll get to. And then it gives you basically two choices. Do I recruit X amount of guys in a specific area, or do I move a guy
one or two spaces,
or
refresh
a guy?
Yeah.
It's very clear. It's entirely iconography driven. There's text on the card. It's very small.
It's flavor text,
and it's all it is.
Yeah,
all it's just history.
I was reading those as we were, and I was like, oh, I learned something, which is something we always talk about.
But there's nothing insane reading the rules. The rules are 6 pages long.
Very understandable.
Very clear, very understandable.
And they have a little player aid that's a card size. That's very clear.
And I'll be honest,
I looked at it once.
After the first round, entirely unnecessary.
Yeah.
It's not a complex
It's very easy to follow.
Yeah.
But I don't want to overstate how easy it is or simplified the game is. There's a lot of strategic elements there. Lots of elements about how to manipulate the calendar and when you do that.
Yes.
Lots of elements about that barricade, which we were looking at that. It looks like just a pile of stuff.
It's a pile of stuff, probably with a guy with a flag
at the top. So kind of a stylized marker, but that was very strategic. You really hampered me at the end. I had a bunch of guys I could have moved out. I still ended up capturing those areas.
But they were locked into that one, which I knew was a lost cause. So I was hoping block you got in and move somewhere else.
And that was something I noticed early on also. The areas are very interestingly placed. Like that one's very isolated. The red one.
And so is the industrial center down in the south as well.
So there's a lot of strategic elements to this. You choose a secret objective. You have to choose that based on the situation on the board at the time. That can be very challenging. You also got to look at your hand and say, how many cards do I have that I can actually manipulate that area? Lots of really cool elements about this game. Very fun to play.
Yes. And
very fun.
I love how... I don't know what I was expecting with this, I'll be honest. But we sat down and played it, and then we were done playing it, and I was like,
oh, yeah.
Like, we play so many long games, it's refreshing to have a game 45. That doesn't take forever.
Yeah.
And so I really enjoyed that. It was, so how the turns work is you kind of your back and forth card play. But each card has like a little value in the top left-hand corner, and it's literally how many days on this little month that you advance the turn track. So it has a calendar of 31 days, typical of a normal calendar, and then there's, it says it's March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. So there's a series of months. So you're tracking the days, and then you move on to the next month. Tracking the days, move on to the next month. And at first I was like, this is going to take forever. It's been a long game.
It went very quick.
It does. Yeah, it's very quick. I play 4 cards in a turn. You play 4 cards. We can kind of do those back and forth. And really, you're going to blow through a month and a half very easily. Sometimes 2 months if you play your leader cards in one sitting.
Yeah.
So it went along at a good clip. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 6 spaces on the board. That's it.
Not a lot.
It's a dogfight.
Yep.
Because pretty much everything is 1 or 2 spaces away.
Yeah.
2 spaces can seem like an age, like a really long distance, but sometimes you get those double move cards. And like, yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
But it's very tight numbers. You have a very limited number of pieces.
And they're asymmetric as well. So I noticed my guys, when you flipped some of them over to their exhausted side, they had generally the same value. Some of yours went...
Some of mine got
weaker, and then I had a couple that went higher as well, which was very, very interesting. The way those... And I'm sure they play tested that, and they decided this is what it has to be. My leaders overall, I think, were weaker. Your leaders were more middle of the road twos.
-1 there.
Yeah, which is interesting.
Yeah, but that's just it.
They're different.
It's not like super duper different, but it's nuanced enough where these are different factions, and how you employ like your little weak guys that are all like 1s and there's 0s on the back. Well, mine are like the more trained kind of incumbent government, mine are 1s with 1s on the back.
Right.
Better trained, not just like some workers' revolt kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was also very interesting how they balanced it and made it different enough.
Yeah.
Without, like, I could sit and play your side. I might be totally fine with it.
Yeah.
It's not like there's a huge learning curve for either side, which some games do have that. So I had a very good time playing this one because it was quick, but it was also very rich. There were times I would pull my hair out of like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I can't do this really simple thing that I need to do.
Yep.
Or...
Well, I felt a lot of tension. Like, there were times where I'm like, I know we're fighting over that space, and I'm looking at my hand going... There's nothing here that's going to help me. So, but I did like also that you could try to get these free actions.
Yes, that was something very cool.
By manipulating that calendar, because I'm telling you, a free action of recruiting one guy, that could make a big difference. Or flipping a guy over, or moving a guy. I like, because there was a lot of tension. Even though I didn't have good cards, I had other ways that I could manipulate the board to try to score.
Yes. And this is a game of tug of war on the scoreboard.
Yep.
Right, I think there's like 10,
you start in the middle.
There's 10
spaces.
10 or 11, 12 spaces on either side.
6, 7, 8,
15?
12. 12.
And basically, it's a pendulum, right?
Yep.
So I get 7 points, you get 7 points, we're back in the middle.
Yeah.
And it's whoever's got it on their side wins. There's automatic victory, but you have to probably have played very terribly for that to have happened.
Yeah.
But that's always a cool mechanic because it's not just
pendulum.
Like, oh, I've got a ton of victory points. It's like it's the difference between those two is like one. We went into the heading into the last round. It was 0.
Yeah. We were right at 0.
And so you've got everything to play for.
Yep.
And I like that.
Yeah.
And if you do get crushed, you've probably lost in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So
it's going to be one of those things where literally the other guy got 2 or 3 objectives in a row, and you didn't get yours. Yeah. And the other thing I really liked, and what did we call these? What are these called?
These are the region tiles. So that's
Region
the
tiles.
unrest token and the barricade.
Yes.
Space.
So I liked that you knew what was coming next, because the barricade token, once this is scored, the unrest, it's going to move up. So the next round, you know that's going to be the one that's scoring.
Yeah.
So I liked that because it could give you a chance to kind of plan ahead somewhat. And also, once again, gave you another way to use your cards to your advantage. But I also liked how in the different months, they scored a different amount of value of victory points.
The longer the game goes on, the more victory points the open space is.
And that was where I won the game, was I got that 7 point at the, and that's the difference, right? 1, 2, that's literally the difference.
Yeah. And I imagine that's probably quite how this would end. Is who's going to get there's going to be one objective in it.
Yeah.
Who's won that one more space than the other person?
Yeah.
I could foresee that happening quite a lot.
I
if
agree.
it really coming down to the very last scoring opportunity.
Yes. Well, and that will of the people power is pretty huge. And that's the Reds start with that, right? And then we each have a leader that can steal that. And what that does for you is it allows the neutral guys in the regions to count for you when you're scoring those areas.
Yes.
I felt like that was almost too overpowered for the Reds. Because all I had to do, because I had it, is wait for you to play it, and then I think I took it right back.
Yes.
Because it made sense for me at that point to take it right back so I could try to score.
Yeah, and that forced, I think Lennon, was it? Yeah, it forced Lennon out of your hand onto the board.
It did.
So you have to play that at maybe an inopportune time, or
Right.
into a situation you might not want to.
Because he's my best leader, and he's actually the most powerful leader on the board.
And then it also, I did that. Yeah.
And I think you won that round. You you forced me to use Lennon to get it back. And it allowed you to, I think you got your objective, and you also won the unrest. So that was a huge round for you.
And then you had to worry about Lennon losing him.
Because I had to unexhaust him.
You had to unexhaust him at a time where I'm like, I think
Yeah.
But that's just it. There's actually some pretty significant nuance to this game.
There is.
The more you play it. And I love that. I love a small game that packs a punch.
Yep.
I think this does that.
Yep. It also has a solo mode.
It does.
We did not play that. What I might do is try to play this tomorrow, and maybe I'll do a video on the solo mode.
Solo mode's 3 pages.
Very simple. Then it has another bag of tokens, and then I think the difficulty level is for the solitaire.
You can kind of set it to be a bit more
I think it's
challenging.
1 through 6, right?
Yeah.
Jeez. So interesting that it has a solitaire mode. I think that is a trend in war games that I think is awesome, to have a dedicated, designed, play-tested solitaire mode, because it's hard to find people to play with.
It can be, yeah.
My wife's not going to play this with me, most likely.
But this is a 2-player game to me.
Agreed.
Right?
Yep.
It doesn't play more than 2.
No.
It's a very quick 2-player game.
Yeah.
From a war game standpoint.
Yep.
It's not really a war game.
It's area control, conflict.
But this is one that a lot of people can play. And
absolutely.
There's.
I say that
might not want to play,
but I think she could play this
very easily,
because we've done Fort Sumter.
This is not a complex.
No, we've done Fort Sumter from GMT. That's it's a similar style, totally different historical period, and a little different the way you use things, but it's kind of the same idea.
But if you're playing things like 5 points.
Right? So awesome.
So it's it's an area control game, right?
Yep.
This is just an area control game. It's
with
just
cards
like
that drive it.
So I think this is a very accessible game to a lot of people.
Agreed.
Plus, your little text and stuff. It's an interesting theme.
Yeah.
This is not a theme you see a lot in the normal kind of Euro gaming world.
Nope.
That I'm aware of. And I think this might help kind of bring some history to gamers that might not normally have played a game of this style.
Right.
So what I'll do is show you the board a little bit, briefly how it
cards.
works. Yeah, it's not. We'll do that quickly and wrap up with a few final thoughts. So here's a look at the game board, and this is what we were talking about with kind of the style of it. Basically, there's 6 regions: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, divided up by color. No mistaking what's what. They're linked by these arrows, which have different colors. You got your little victory point track over here, a couple of different markers. And then this is kind of the turn track here. Looks like a calendar, and it is a calendar. So this is a card-driven game. One of you plays kind of the Reds, and one of you plays the government forces. And the cards, like a big old stack of cards, there's 48 of them, so you're probably rarely going to go through them. They're all very similar in style, and it's a lot of colors and symbols. So we'll just take a look at this first one. When you play a card, the first thing you do is that you advance the calendar this many days. So this is a 1. Literally, you move the day marker 1 day on the calendar. So that might take a long time. But you got 3, 3, 8, 6, 8, 2, 1, 2, 2, 5, 4. And a lot of these are pretty high numbers. So if I want to play this card, for example, I play this card, it's a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's a whole week. And bear in mind, each player is going to play 4 cards in a round. So you can have 8 cards. You're going to get through that month, and usually half of next month in a turn at least. Now, that's the first thing I do. Then I do either of these two things. See the cards kind of divided here? I can either recruit a unit or units into the brown area, which the brown has a corresponding little industrial symbol here. Well, look, that's the symbol here, and it's kind of brown. So I can recruit into this area. My units, and we'll just take a look at the units here. 1, 2, 2, 2, 2. Here we go. So these are the Reds units. This has that little 1 pip. This has the little 2 yellow pips. And this has the 3 yellow pips. Well, this card had the 3 pips on it. So I can recruit my strongest guy. He's at 2. This little black 3 indicates the number that's going to be on the reverse side. So he flips over. When he's exhausted, he gets even stronger. You know, the workers' will get stronger as they're being oppressed and exhausted, I guess. The 1 guy has a 0 on the back, not very good. 2 has a 2 on the back, that's pretty decent. So I can use this card to recruit this 3 guy, or both of these two, 1, 2, 3, into the brown area. Well, I've got Stalin there already, so I'm going to give him some support with this guy here. That's what I use my card for. I then discard it. Quite simply, that's the turn. Then my opponent takes a turn. He's going to play this. Well, he's going to advance the game 3 days. 1, 2, 3. And he's going to do recruit 2 dudes into the blue area. Or he might take this action. And this action is simply what it says. Take a dude and move it. So I got this guy over here. We're actually going to move him down across this arrow that connects purple and brown. Well, now 1, 2, 3 for the communists, and 1, 2, 3 3 points for the government. So this is now kind of equal. It's a net 0. And that's really what the game is it's moving to try and gain control and have the most numbers in an area. Now, why is that important? Well, that's important because over here, this green space where there's kind of civil unrest, whatever's holding in here, so this is the red area, is in the unrest space. This red area is going to score at the end of the round. Now there's 2 other areas that potentially could score. These are chosen by each player. You dealt 5 cards at the beginning of your turn. One of them, let's say, well, that's the brown one. I'm going to choose that as my secret objective. If I control it at the end of the round, I'm going to get 4 points. That's really good. My opponent is going to do the red one. He's going to get 2 points at the end of the round if he controls the red area. Not all objectives are created equal, but you're like, okay, you want to try and get your expensive ones down there so that you can get the most victory points. Getting 1 or 2 from these cards, you don't want to be doing that. You want to put down your 3s and 4s to get those kind of high victory point numbers. So what happens basically, you do all your moving around, playing your cards. At the end of each round, so this red area is going to score. This brown area is going to score. While this player is scoring in the red area again. So if the communist player controls this area, which at the moment they do, and we'll get there, they're going to score this area twice, and that's going to look pretty nice. So you do it in order. So this is 1, 2, 3. 1, we're going to score this. So this player has 1, 2, 3, 4, and they control this green one, which is neutral, 5. And government players only got 4. That's not great. So the red victory points go to the communist player. And how those are determined R down here with this kind of mini key down here. So this is the unrest space. The unrest space is worth a variable amount of victory points based on how far into the game we are. If we consult the month, it's currently September. This little September space says this area is worth 5 victory points. So he just scored 5 VPs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put that back. Now we're going to score this brown area, because I put down my little 4 victory points if I control the brown area. Well, I only have 3, and the opposing player's got 3, so it's a net 0. So don't score any points. That's not great. That's not what we want to see. And then the communist player put down 2 victory points if they control the red area. Well, we already calculated that they do. They're going to get 2 more. So it can snowball if you don't make your objectives. You have to try really, really hard to make those objectives in order to kind of keep yourself in this game. You know, if I had scored this and got 4 VPs, 1, 2, 3, 4, it's only 3 VPs to the communist player. It looks a whole lot better than all the way down here. There is automatic victory if you kind of get off the edge here. But I feel like that would be hard to do. You have to be very unlucky with your card draws and your placements, things like that. So back to this little control here. These green tokens, they are controlled by whichever player has this green kind of will of the people marker. Communists, the Reds, start with it, obviously. It is possible for the white player to take it. If they play Kerensky, he literally takes it from him. So then the white player controls this. Ooh, suddenly this 5-4. I'm getting those 5 VPs now, and they're getting hosed with only 2 VPs. So then that swing comes further back down here. So there's a lot of nuance in when you play these types of leader cards. Because if you look here, I'm playing my little leader card. There's 11 spaces on the calendar as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's a lot of game turn to go through. Why this is important is because on the 15th and the 31st of each month, you get a bonus action if you were the one to do that. So I play my little leader. I'm taking this green thing away. I put out my Kerensky token. Let's say it wasn't already out. You put him out. And because I got onto this bonus action space, my bonus action is 1 free single recruit, move a guy, refresh a guy, or draw a card. So in this instance, I'm like, well. Let's go about refreshing this guy. No, he's a 2 right now on his exhausted side. Well, I'm going to put him onto his 3. That's fantastic. This exhaustion is very important because what happens is, at the end of each round after you do all the scoring, you look at the areas that were scored, and everything in those squares exhausts. Exhaust, 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 exhaust. Lenin, already exhausted, is removed from the game. You don't want to do that. You don't want to lose your leaders or your neutrals like that as much as possible.
Come back, Lenin! Come back!
He's not coming back. Normal pieces like this, if he becomes exhausted again, he just comes back to your supply. That's not the end of the world. You'd rather not do that, but not the end of the world. But when you start losing those leaders, they're permanently gone from the game. Trotsky, where's Trotsky? I don't have him. Trotsky is a little kind of a historical thing. He comes on the board, comes back from his exile in May or June. He comes back and he's a little green piece. Here he's a little green dude. So he's neutral, but then a couple months later in August, you literally just kick him off the board and he joins the Reds here, and he's a red piece for the rest of the game. So if you can, whilst he's neutral, kind of get him off the board, that kind of saves you a little bit. Is the government player. That's one little kind of swing you have to deal with there. But all in all, a very simple game. This calendar is awesome. It's so fun because you're kind of just fighting with your hand to try and make it so you're the one that gets the bonus actions, because those bonus actions make a huge difference to what you can and can't do in the game. Getting free refreshes of guys makes a huge difference to your control values over the long run of the game. But making this work to your advantage can be challenging, and this is where some of the really fun part of the game is. Outside of that, it's just a really tight area movement and area control game, and it's super awesome. Basically, at the end of the round, we scored this one, that goes away. This moves up. So you always see what's coming next on that. And then you've got a pile of areas, and you just draw another one. So my blockade, which was blocking this route, we block this route, so you can't move from here to here. And then I know the next turn after this scores, this is going to move up. So there's this little part, you can see a little bit ahead of what's coming, so you can maybe plan and try to move to your advantage. Trying to move this guy with your other leaders. One of your leaders just moves that. So there was a time where Grant was kind of blocked up in this area, and I just blocked him in. That's the only way in and out of this area. And he was kind of just clogged up, wasting guys in there. That was nice for me. So there's a good strategy with that.
But it ended up working out for me in the end.
Yep. And then there's a little espionage. One of your leaders does espionage. You can basically you can peek at someone's secret objective for that turn. So there's a little bit of nuance about how and when you use those. But all in all, it's just a really, really simple game that's just fun and incredibly accessible. What we'll do is we'll wrap up with a few final thoughts and get you squared away. So that was a look at the board and just how it works.
Isn't it beautiful? Just right. I think it's such a great looking board.
The style.
Very well done.
I like that style. It's very bold.
Yeah.
I just think it's cool.
Well, remember the game that we played that was on Kickstarter, Knights of Fire?
Yes.
By Brian Train and David Turksey. Kind of a similar style board. That colorful type board. I really like the board. Really like this production.
I thoroughly enjoyed the turn mechanic with the calendar.
Yep.
I thought that was so cool. Mm-hmm. That's one of my favorite parts of this game.
Yep.
And I'm like, I would love to see that in other games. Just the way that the cards moved that forward. So that's where you start to get into the layers of, well, my card isn't just, I'm trying to recruit some guys.
Yeah.
I really
trying to
desperately need
calendar.
to recruit those guys.
Yeah.
But if I play this now, it's going to set up my opponent to basically get a free action because it's X amount of days.
Yep.
So you're like, do I hold on to this? Do I not? And that's where you get into the real struggles of it. But it's 4 cards in a turn. It's very short, so options are quite limited.
So I would say this game is going to be a gateway into CDGs. I think it's a simplified CDG mechanic. There are no cards that allow me to play something when you play a card, right, or get an ability. That they're literally just made for each player as they play them. And it's very simplified. There's not really op values.
Nope.
So it's a little different. It's really just a choice between 2 actions.
Do I recruit or do I take the other action?
Yep. So it's a very simplified, I think, very introductory, card-driven game that will open up a lot of new types of games for a lot of people, I think. So I think if you are into historical stuff and you just want to learn but have a good time in a strategic tug of war, I think this game will hit that spot. So,
and I think the time it takes to play this game is going to be excellent for a lot of people.
Agreed.
We love Twilight Struggle, but
it's a 3-4 hour game.
Yeah, and a lot of people out there don't want to do that.
This is a 45-minute Twilight Struggle-esque tug of war, back and forth.
And I love the secret objectives.
Yep, very cool.
I always like that. Again, not overly complex.
Nope.
It's nothing that I'm getting lost under. Sometimes I have to look again. I'm like, it was the blue area.
Yeah.
But it's just executed. It's very clean in its design.
Yeah.
And I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
Especially, again, from a company I've not played a game before.
So well done.
Kudos to them.
Well done to Thunderworks Games. I really, really liked this game.
Yes, I had a blast playing this one. And I don't know if it's available.
I'm not sure.
That's the hard part. If it's available, this seems like it would be a reasonably priced game.
I would agree.
I would presume.
I would agree.
It looks great. The production value, yes. I can't speak enough to the production value. Yeah. I'm just very, very impressed by that.
Yep.
And it's fun to boot. So that's what I like about it.
It hits value, good play, fun, enjoyable, fast.
Yes.
So, historical.
Right. And this is a game to play with basically anyone.
Yep.
And so it's got a lot of things going for it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. This has been a review of Dual Powers Revolution 1917 from Thunderworks Games. And I've been Alexander from PlayerSaid.com.
And I'm Grant.